Hey everyone, this is HypoOwl, and welcome back to more Let's Play Sabrina the Animated Series Zapped. In the last episode, we finished them all, and in this episode, we'll be starting the final level of the game, the zoo. So, in typical Sabrina the Animated Series Zapped fashion, I don't know why I felt the need to say the entire title there. So, in typical fashion of this game, there's going to be a shoehorn of a bunch of animals right in front of us. So, there's going to be about 4 or 5 in front of us as we start off here. And so, one thing I will say is that if you ever decide to pick up this game and you find yourself in this level, and you also find yourself missing an animal, I would say check the ceilings, because more often than not, it's actually going to be a bat. So, one, I would say we should probably come up here to the left instead of going immediately to the right there. So we'll get our star here. There's going to be a couple more animals up here. And so we'll also be getting our last power-up of the game in this level. So, speaking of animals, I actually did find out that armadillos are pretty much their own thing. I think I remember asking about that in way back in when I did Billy Hatcher, and so yeah, I think it's just kind of the nose or whatever. They just look kind of like mice to me, so that's why I always thought that they were some part of the rodent family. And so here we have a new power up, is the what I like to call a brick power up, but it's pretty much the only power-up in the game where we get to interact with the environment. And so what it'll do is there'll be these like orange blocks in the walls with arrows on them. And so what you want to do is go up to them and press either left or right depending on which direction you're facing, and you'll just transport yourself through the wall. And it's just as simple as that. So we're going to go back up here and get these last couple animals, which are in these walls as a matter of fact. And so we'll take this out, and we'll go through here. So, looking at this level, I have to say that this looks a lot like, or at least it's starting to remind me of the ruined zoo from Subspace Emissary from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I think it's really just the desaturated sky, and it might just be some of the colors, like there was a lot of purple. I just seen the balloons and these purple bricks. And so, which is funny that I bring that up because it looks, it's got some pretty energetic music for such an abandoned looking place. I mean, we've got grass coming from the wall. I mean, we've got these just, there's just really no people here. Well, I mean, there's been no people in any of these levels really, and technically, I guess there are really people here since we're turning all the kids back from animals. So that's pretty much it for this level. And so, thinking about this level, I gotta say that this is probably an appropriate final level for this game, considering all the animals and whatnot. And so, I would just wonder, I'm not saying like this is a needed addition or anything, but it just kind of got me thinking, what if this game had like some kind of league of zoo catchers where each of them had like different attributes, where we had to defeat all of them in order to save the animals. Like there was some kind of misunderstanding where all the animals are like we know the animals are really students, but but all the zoo catchers think that they're just animals and they're just pretty much doing their job. And so I would wonder if we had something like that going on in this game. And so here we have a new enemy for this level. It's a panda, and it basically acts like the Rex from Super Mario World, where it's actually the only non-boss animal where it takes more than one hit in order to save it. So here we have the bubble power-up. Once again, we'll be working with several different power-ups throughout the levels, and so we'll take this and go to the other side, and I believe there's a star here. So I would actually highly recommend getting the stars throughout these levels. They'll actually become pretty handy coming up, especially coming up pretty soon. So we'll also be needing Salem here pretty soon. So we got another panda here. And so I would say maybe just use the bubble power just to, if you're just in a rush for whatever reason, just bubble yourself over here. And so just jump down here, and there's another bat. And so we actually need that bubble power. I would say don't go immediately to the to the right. Instead, what you want to do is just go straight up, because you'll find yourself going up here, and then you can't, because when we get up here, the only way we can get up here is that we'll need the bubble power. And also check the ceilings while you're at it in case of bats here. I think that's one of the things that that I was reluctant about LP in this game is the fact that it will turn into a blind LP. If you kind of feel, even though, granted, I haven't touched this game in almost 10, 12 years before even doing this project, but I just didn't, because I knew this wasn't going to be a blind LP. I knew I'd already played this game before, but the thing is, even no matter how many times I practiced, no matter how many times I wrote things down to remember, quote unquote, remember where all the things were, it just was to no avail, you know. At time, because this has probably been the LP where I've practiced the most, where I've had so many failed recordings because I just ran out of stuff to talk about, where I just didn't feel like the commentary was up to par where I wanted it to be. And so, not to say I think that this is a bad project at all. I think it's turned out really, I mean, it's actually turned out to be one of my more decent projects, especially when I actually decided to go and research things, especially for last episode. But speaking of which, I actually left out a thing from last episode. So as it turns out, so this whole Sabrina series actually takes place in a place called Greendale, which, for those of you who don't know, is actually out not too far away from Riverdale, which is where the main Archie comics takes place, which is pretty cool that all these comics actually take place in the same universe. And so, I don't know if I said this before, but this level especially has probably the most combined amount of animals in any world. But the funny thing is that, especially like this level has 14 animals, but there's like 7 in this one area, which we'll be taking out right now. So we're at 4. We're already down to 9, and just off doing that. So let's jump up here. I believe there was a brick area going back here. And so there's also another thing, is that some of these levels are actually pretty maze-like, so prepare for a lot of cutting, which will probably happen pretty soon, because especially like next level, where I won't say too much about it until we get there. So now we have the multi-jump power-up. So here we have another new animal. This is the rhino. Basically what you want to do is wait until he's in a normal state. Don't wait until he's enraged, or else he'll pretty much beat him. Even if you get all the stars, it's like, for some reason, his shell is like impervious to your magic, so be mindful of that. So we'll use the multi-jump to get up here. So we've already taken out almost half of the animals, and just in that one area. This is what I was talking about, where they just bunch the animals into this one area. And so, especially even the stars are bunched in this one area. I think most of them are actually around here. So there's a bat, and I believe, yeah, this is another star here. And so we'll be needing Salem here pretty soon to get another armored. I believe there are actually 5 animals in this one area. A few of them we can't get yet, but they're still there. And so, okay, yeah, there's another rhino down here. We'll just wait on that. So, speaking of zoos, is anybody a big zoo fan here? I mean, I'm a big animal person myself. Well, I mean, I don't dislike animals, but I don't get is really too crazy. I mean, I like animals, especially I don't know if I've ever told anybody this, but I think if I was ever to own one as a pet, I would say I would probably own a rabbit. I don't know what it is about it, but I think rabbits would actually be wouldn't take that much upkeep, you know. And it's also like, if you're asking me if I'm more of a cat or dog person, I'll probably say I have to be a dog person. But it's just something about rabbits. It's just so adorable. They're just they don't do many things that other animals do. I mean, that like cats or dogs do. They're pretty active. They're pretty I can hold them. They don't get like terribly big. They're good with, I mean, kids would be great around them if I ever had kids. You know, it's just I don't know what exactly it would take to feed them, but I'm sure they wouldn't. Sure wouldn't be too bad. Which, fun fact about rabbits, did you know that carrots are actually bad for rabbits, and that actually became a thing because of Bugs Bunny? So if any of you own rabbits, please stop feeding your rabbits carrots, because it's actually bad for them. And so this is where the getting all the stars comes in handy, because you can actually zap some of the animals through the walls here. And so I think last animal should be up here, if I'm not mistaken. So let's jump up here. Or is this just a... Oh no, it's Salem. Oh yeah, that's right. There actually is a Salem area that we need to clear real quick. So think towards the... Oh, we are towards the bottom. So let me get that. If I can remember where it is. Okay, so it wasn't the Salem area. We just needed to get underneath this area in order to get back up here, which just brings us here. Okay, so this is actually just right here, so we'll just take Salem through here, and this ground pound area, which is back down at the very bottom of the level, and so just go down here, and just ground pound, and yeah, we can just fit through here, so exit, but our last animal, I think we missed way back at that Salem area, so let's go back up there. Okay, yeah, and sure enough, it just had to be a bat. So let's jump all the way back down and go back down here and get to the exit. So I think one of the going back to the zoo, I actually rather enjoy the zoo. I know ours it's actually had this Komodo dragon exhibit for the longest, but I've never actually gone there. I know I just said that I would love to own a rabbit as a pet, even though I'm more of a reptile guy. I especially love turtles, but it's just but I don't know. I think it's just more the energy factor, because I would feel like rabbits would be more fun to own than turtles, because turtles, as much as it wouldn't take much to take care of them, it's just that I would rather have something to play with, or just, you know. But okay, so this last level, the final level of the game is. This pretty much is like the everything level, where we have Salem, we have every last power-up that we ever encountered in the game. There's Salem right now, and so this is actually the whole, like pretty good tag team level actually, where we'll be switching between Salem and Sabrina constantly in order to complete this level, even though this only has 11 animals to get, and we've only taken care of 8. And so now we want to go up top, I believe, and get a few of these power-ups. And this is the thing I was saying earlier, where this would turn into a blind LP where I would like totally forget where everything is, and this is why I was saying that everything would be this is going to be a really maze-like level, and there would go be quite a few cuts here and there, so just be mindful of that. And so I think down here, yeah, so we want to take Salem down here, and I believe this is where we'll get our first power-up. So this is going to be the multi-jump, which will switch back to Sabrina and get up here, and we'll switch that and get to the ground pound. And so we're also going to need Salem to get back up here, which we'll be taking the ground pound way back down here, and in order to get Salem through, I believe there's a yeah, okay, so I think this is just a star. So we'll switch back to Salem and bring him out. Okay, so now that we brought Salem over here, we're gonna go crush these last few cat blocks, and that should bring us through to the last couple power-ups, or bring us to the next level. I don't know why that was so difficult to say. So wait, is it? Oh yeah, so we need to, yeah, so we just jump through here with Salem, and see what else is up here. So there's another star. The stars are pretty plentiful throughout the, well, there's only 5 of them, but they're all pretty close, so it's actually worth your while to go ahead and get all the stars. So keep, and just make a mental note that some of these animals are up here. So there's the brick power-up, which I'm trying to remember where that would be. So we can't get up here quite, well, here, yeah, we can get up here, but we can't go quite higher yet, because we'll be needing the bubble power-up here pretty soon. So I'm gonna go up here and take out these last couple animals. And so take care of the rhino, and I believe there's a bat. It always seems to elude my grasp for some reason, so we'll go down there. And I think we'll be needing Salem here pretty soon. Another thing about the multi-jump power-up is that it is actually especially useful to jump over this wide gap, because Salem actually controls a lot differently than Sabrina. For some reason, Salem has like, it's almost like he overruns where you want to stop. It's like it's almost like a slide, but not really, where it's he always jumps farther than I intend for him to. He jumps at a kind of a weird arc, so that's why I don't necessarily run over this area because of things like that. Okay, so we'll take out this panda here while we're still here. So I want to jump down here, and if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be the last. That is a heart. Never mind. But we also want to take out this bat while we're down here. So if I can just jump on, there we go, and bring Salem down here and break these blocks, and bring Sabrina through. That's actually one of the things that kind of, and that's another thing why I was kind of hesitant. You know, this whole LP has been a bit difficult for me because I'd originally thought that there wasn't a huge amount of things to talk about. I said this last episode where I like to bring trivia into the mix for some of these power-ups, but that's the thing, is that there's not a ton. Well, other than what I said last episode, there wasn't exactly a ton of things to talk about. Wait, did we just? Oh, I actually had no idea you could actually beat this level without getting the bubble power-up. That is new. But anyway, on to our final, quote-unquote, final boss. This is a gorilla, and so basically what you want to do is stay on top of the cabana here, and just stay away from its hands, and just wait for it. I think it'll stick its hands out about 3 or 4 times, and then it'll eventually pop its head out like that. And so you want to jump on it and rinse and repeat. And so just wait for that. It's got some ugly fingernails. Do gorilla's fingers actually look like that? They almost look like, I don't know what it is about them. They just look all like meaty for some reason. It's just ew. All right, so from the middle, you want to jump up actually in order to avoid that fist there. So that should just avoid that last one. Okay, so I think the amount of times it sticks its hand out actually changes depending on... Alright, so I just decided to skip ahead to the final hit. Also, one neat thing about these boss battles is that if you die but it's not a game over, then the hits actually carry over to the next time you revive yourself. But anyway, that's it for Sabrina the Animated Series Zapped, everyone. I'd like to thank you all for watching. So now we're going to head back to the auditorium after saving everyone. But that's it for this project. I'd like to thank you all for watching. So I think my thoughts on this project is that it was a pretty decent project. I think one of my biggest fears is that it turning into like a blind LP. I mean, granted, I said this before, I haven't played this game in quite some time before I started LPing this, but I think just the way that I do commentary, I think this game was a bit of a challenge because, like, in some of the other games, there was an objective in order to go do, and there were different objectives for each level, but for this one, it was just the same thing, and the only things that really changed were, like, the animals and the location, and then you got different power-ups, and that was pretty much it. And so I'm actually glad that I decided to go ahead and can one of those earlier episodes so I can go back and look up some trivia for this game, because Lord knows I needed that. So, about this game, I think it's actually a pretty decent game. Of course, it's a pretty good time killer if you want to kill an hour or two. It probably takes no more than two hours in order to complete this game. But I think it's not a bad game, but it's not necessarily anything spectacular. You know, this isn't really a classic by any means. But I mean, it's actually a childhood favorite of mine though, and so I'd actually encourage you to go, if you want to, go ahead and pick it up. It's only like $8 off of eBay or whatever you want to buy it from. But anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. I'd like to thank you all for watching. This has been HypoAllo, and until next time, I'll see y'all later.